Okay, hello everyone, this is La, and today I decided to do something different where I wanted to react to the Challenge 41 cast thread, where they left to film a week ago as I'm recording this because February 10th was last Monday, and I intentionally waited because I knew that there would be some some casting choices that wouldn't be revealed until days later for a variety of reasons. One is because some of the rookies aren't really known, to hard for the spoiler accounts to really find out about. Two, there's sometimes last minute switches, not only just with the rookies but with the veterans as well. And I was hoping that the entire cast would be revealed before the first elimination happened, and the first elimination hasn't happened yet, but knowing the usual time frame from when they leave the film and the first elimination, it should happen anytime soon. And I wanted to do this beforehand. And I was hoping that the entire cast would be revealed, but that's not the case. I think we're missing like 3 or 4 rookies, but we're just going to get right into it. So, here's the Challenge 41 cast thread. It was done a week ago by GamerVev, who is one of the spoiler accounts. Obviously, teachers hosting, I don't really need to say anything. So the location is in Chile, the departure day being February 10th for the rookies. So they left last Monday, and the veterans left February 11th. We do have all of the veterans, so that's something we're going to get into. Okay. Johnny Bananas, obviously not a shock. His entire life is a challenge, and I'm sure they're paying him at least 6 figures just to show up. Not through to this choice, especially after the scandal he got himself into with Taylor that involved a gorilla emoji like a few days beforehand. Just very awful all the way around, but obviously, in this economy, if you have an opportunity to do something high paying and they're going to consistently cast you, why not do it? But yeah, very uninspired but predictable casting choice. Anissa Ferreira, she essentially fits the same thing. She's. It's weird because in the past, Anissa used to take breaks, like every few seasons off, or she'd be away for like 2 to 3 seasons with like Era 1 and Era 2 and some of Era 3. But ever since Total Madness, which filmed in late 2019 and aired in 2020, she has appeared like back to back to back to back to back to back to back, and she really hasn't taken a break. Obviously, this really isn't a surprise. They shoehorned her in on All Stars 5, where she didn't really fit that theme, especially with the person that she was partnered with. She does the challenge podcast, and she's also someone that's probably getting paid like 6 figures just to show up, since the she's the oldest veteran based on when she debuted. So obviously, I get why she's doing this for the economy, but it's an uninspired casting choice. Though it's very predictable. She has lost a lot of weight and she put a lot of effort into her fitness post All Stars 5, so maybe she'll shock us, especially because she usually gets to the end, with the exception of recently, but we'll see. Leroy Garrett. Okay, so he retired in 2020. They made this huge deal about it on Double Agents to the point where it's obnoxious as fuck on the edit. He claimed that he did it because MTV handled the race situation on Dirty 30, and while some of that may be true and it might have reignited things due to what was happening in the US during 2020, he did 4 seasons after that. But he felt comfortable enough to come back on All Stars 4, which filmed 2 years ago, and since then he's done 3 seasons since Battle of the Eras, All Stars 5, and now season 41. I'm assuming he and Johnny kind of just coast through the season and things will be back to normal with him kind of just relying on Johnny Bananas. Hopefully he'll take it more seriously and get more involved in the politics, but Cam isn't around to help him, so I doubt it. Olivia Kaser. So it's crazy how out of all the people that debuted on late era 4, so I would say from like Spice, Lights and Allies onwards, especially when it comes to the Rookie Cup, Olivia's the only one that's on the season, and she's the only one who has done 4 seasons in a row. Not that thrilled to have her back. I'm assuming she's going to make it deep again, like she always does. She is in a relationship with Theo, so maybe something will be made of that. Um, I just know she's very, very obsessed with her image and she's very image conscious to the point where it kind of makes her less entertaining, but she can have a funny soundbite here and there. But it'll be interesting to see her on a season without Michelle for the first time. It's clear that she's the staple of late era 4. According to some of the spoiler accounts, you want her to be the new Tori, and that makes sense from her being on 4 seasons in a row. Derek Chavez. Yeah, I'm not happy with this choice as well. Props to him for making it to the end on All Stars 4 and Battle of the Eras, where his track record beforehand was pretty poor. But honestly, he's very boring as hell. Sorry. Hey, props to him. He used All Stars to get on the main show 2 seasons in a row, where they ignored his number post 2013. So good for him. It'll be interesting to see what happened. Actually, no, I wouldn't say it'll be interesting. But pretty much he went on a rant a few days ago about how he isn't going to be friends with any of the Trump supporters and whatnot. And then there's the whole situation with Carmen Maria and transgender people where he commented on and he said he's going to follow people and all that jazz. I'm going to wonder, sorry, what I'm trying to get at is I'm wondering if he's going to keep that same energy while he's in the house, especially because he's friends with someone who is dating a non-transphobe who is on this cast. But a lot of the people who are making complaints about Kara kind of took back a lot of her comments. Honestly, I'm bored with this casting choice, especially with the people who were alternate, but I don't think he'll be able to slide under the radar anymore like he did on the last 2 seasons. Okay, so America Lopez. So I remember hearing some scuttlebutt about this choice where apparently she and Corey started getting into the challenge within the last few months, and apparently they were recapping it on their Patreon account. And there's some talks about them wanting people from Big Brother 25. From a physical point of view, I don't think she'll be able to keep up. But hey, Devon was a shocker in that sense, despite her not winning a competition at the time on Big Brother. So maybe America will surprise us. She had her feisty moments, but she did shut down when Felicia, who is even more feisty, came at her. And I'm wondering if she's going to keep that same energy on the show or she's going to be an ass-kissing vet. She'll be interesting to watch to see how she adapts to the environment, which encourages more boisterous personalities, or if she's going to meet herself intentionally. Okay, so Jeremy Heikel from The Amazing Race. I've never watched this season. I've only watched the Brendan and Rachel season, which was their first season, so I'm not too familiar with Amazing Race. Apparently his season was a recent one. He looks like a surfer beach dude from the few pictures that I've seen of him. From what I recall, people said that he and his brother were kind of funny on the show, but it was because they were kind of flops. It's interesting that they casted someone from The Amazing Race here on the main show, where the last person that they did that for was Jen from Total Madness, and she obviously flopped exponentially on that season. Okay, Blue Kim. I don't know about this choice because my issue with Blue, especially on Big Brother, is that when she knew the cameras were on her, she toned up her obnoxious African American vernacular culture vulture borderline persona, especially when she went into the diary room, and it really made her unlikable, especially on the episodes. But when she was just chilling in the house and acting like herself, she could be pretty likable. So if she brings the latter Blue instead of the former Blue, she could be an interesting casting choice. She might be someone who performs better in the competitions here than on Big Brother. So she might be improved there. If she brings her normal TikTok persona, she's just going to be irritating as hell. It will be interesting to see if how she and America interact with one another. But based on the history of people who came from Big Brother and entered the challenge with like the Big Brother 18 crew on Final Reckoning, the Big Brother 20 crew on Total Madness, they all generally work together in the beginning. So I'm assuming that's going to be the case with her and America. Okay, so I remember this person was on, then they took him out, so I'm just going to skip him. Aviv Bruno. Okay. Not the most fond of this choice. I knew that she'd be back at some point, but I thought it would be like an all-star season, which makes sense because she's friends with most of the Era 1 people, and she's a mother who doesn't get into all the drama and is all about competing. So the fact that she is one of the few women from Battle of the Eras that made it onto this cast is something. I don't know if Bananas made an ultimatum about how he needed one of his angels to be on the cast, but I thought it would have been Jenny, who apparently wasn't even contacted for the season. So them including Aviv here, interesting, I guess. She is only in her early 40s, so she's not like old or anything. I don't know what she's really going to provide this season, but maybe I'll be surprised. Okay, Theo Campbell. Not shocked with this choice, especially with his girlfriend Olivia being on the season, and he seems like one of the safer Brits to be on the show, which is ironic based off of his transphobic tweets. And he's dating Olivia, who's friends with Derek, who is pissed off at a lot of the transphobes. So it's interesting how that'll react. I'm pretty sure they'll all get along fine enough. Theo was on World Championship and on Battle of the Eras, and it was pretty self-explanatory that he would be on the season, especially because they're having such a huge issue bringing back a lot of the UK people, and he's one of the few willing to do it. Hopefully, he got better. Hopefully, he got in better shape to the point where he can perform in the dailies. And he's been dating Olivia for a year now, so they're not just obsessed with being lovebirds, and they actually focus on being in the game. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's just going to kiss ass to the likes of Bananas and whatnot. Whatever drama that he does have supposedly gets edited out, so I'm not the most fond of this choice, but I'm not surprised. But it'll be interesting to see him interact with someone who is on this list that I'll get into later on. So, Cara Maria Sorbello. So, a few days before they decided to leave, Cara Maria decided to finally out herself as a Republican MAGA Trump supporter, which a lot of people kind of knew about for years. But I guess she was tired of people asking her about who she voted for and attacking her because she wanted to have her cake and eat it. So she went on this rant about how the Republicans turned her away, blah, 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 blah. And then she threw her own boyfriend and other challengers like CT under the bus for being Republicans. And then she said LGB, leaving out the T people. It ended up with her saying, oh, I said LGP because I'm not T, and I was referring to sexuality. So many of the fans and so many of the alumni rightfully called her out, but I do find it interesting that they got upset over her leaving out the T in the LGBT, but they said nothing about Bananas' race scandal a few days earlier. Of course, Cara Maria and Polly came out with an apology, and she did some damage control. She might have had some conversations with some of the people who are vocal against her, and a lot of the same people who were calling her out, like a Corey, a Frank, and some of the others, were kind of taking back a lot of the commentary they said about her. So I'm expecting Derek to do the same thing, especially in regards to what I just mentioned above. Cara Maria's without Polly. It seems like she knows that she can't afford to threaten to not do the show so she could get Polly on, like she tried to do with Total Madness. I think she realized that she doesn't have as much heart as she thought. So yeah, she's gonna do the seasons without Polly. In general, whatever, with her. I'm pretty sure she's going to try to revamp her image, especially with how the situation with Laurel went by, and she was somewhat well received on 40 before her social media activity ruined it. Okay, so Justin Hinsley, who is from Netflix's Cheer, I have no idea what show that is, but from what I've heard, It's like some LGBT show on Netflix. I don't really know. From what I saw, he's pretty small but looks kind of athletic. I just don't have much to go off of with him. Hopefully, he's not going to be like very obnoxious in like a Broadway way, like Tommy from Ride or Dies and Big Brother. That type of obnoxious. I hope he's not that, but in general, I just don't have much to go off of with him. D. D. Valadares is on the season, and it's very interesting because, as we all know, they're casting for Survivor 50, which is known to be a returning player season. And the fact that she chose to do this instead of the challenge, not the challenge, sorry, Survivor 50, could be interpreted in a few ways. One is that there are no winners on Survivor 50. And if that's the case, it makes sense why she would do this over that. Or two, maybe she just over Survivor and she knew she would have a big target on her back if she went back to Survivor. So doing the challenge makes sense. She did have the whole affair scandal with Wendell, but that was all hidden. I don't know if she's going to keep that same energy on the challenge, where you have to be open about your ratchet behavior. She does seem physically capable. She's been working out, she's been posting it. She wanted to do the challenge for a while. And she seems strategic, but I don't. This could either go in a few ways. It could either go in the way of Michaela and Spice Lies and Eyes, where they target her immediately, or she lasts a while and can become a Michelle Fitzgerald, who showed that survivors can be very successful in this game. Okay, West has always been proven to not be on, so I'm skipping it. Nany Gonzalez. So obviously, she's usually someone who does a bunch of seasons, then takes a break, and then when she comes back, she does a bunch of seasons. And with her just coming out of her break for All Stars Rivals or All Stars 5, I'm not shocked that she's on this list. It is a bit interesting to see what she will do since she just broke up with Casey not long ago, like a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago at this point. So she's entering this single. Maybe she's going to want to hook up so she can get that felt end, which is what Nany would do on prior seasons, or she's still like grieving that relationship, especially since it's a broken engagement. But I'm assuming she's just gonna work with the likes of Leroy, Anissa, Johnny Bananas, as usual. But there's no Vacation Alliance here, but she's someone who didn't really need the Vacation Alliance. A lot of people kind of accused Casey of making her boring, so without that, it'll be interesting to see what she does, though I wouldn't be shocked if it's the same mode that we had with her, just kind of slithering on by with her allies pretty easily. Okay. Derek Kosinski. Okay, so he's shocking because he got a really bad injury on Battle of the Eras, which we all saw on the show. Apparently, he had to get a bunch of surgeries and it was going to take a year or two to recover. So, I was expecting him to not be on this or the upcoming All-Star season, but he's on 41. Obviously, we all knew that he wanted to be on the flagship show, where he is pretty much barred from being on it after Dirty 30. He wanted to be on it throughout all the 30 seasons, which he talked about on his podcast. Then he used All-Stars to prove that he's a bigger, bolder character so he could get on the flagship. Obviously, 40 was a very circumstantial season, but 41 isn't, so it seems like he kind of got his way. Now that he got what he wanted, I'm assuming he's just going to kind of slither behind Bananas and or scream obnoxiously in his confessionals. I'm not expecting too much from him, but this one was pretty shocking. Okay. Nia Moore, not a shocking choice at all. They clearly like what Nia brings now that she can prove that she can be calm and funny. Since her return on All Stars 3 with Jordan, she's been on as many seasons as she can since. She has her Ladies Alicia thing with Olivia, and she's close with Thea and a few other people. So I'm not shocked that she returned. Hopefully, like Theo, she gets it together when it comes to the fitness and the dailies, because I'm tired of seeing her flop in the dailies, where you would think someone of her build would be a lot more athletic. Because if she's going to continue to flop in the physical component and she's not bringing the drama or whatever, they shouldn't cast her. But she is willing to hook up, so at least there's that. It's already been proven he's not on the cast. Okay, Sydney from Survivor 41. I find this to be kind of interesting because I do remember a lot of people stating that they wanted her on the challenge once her season aired, but her season filmed and aired 4 years ago at this point. So I'm kind of. Actually, no, the fact that it's 4 years ago and she was only a pre juror, it does make sense why she would be available for this and not for 50 because she's from an unnotable season and she's an unnotable player from an unnotable season. Hopefully, she'll be as entertaining and messy on the challenge that she gave off on Survivor, but we'll have to see or wait and see. Okay, so I had no idea who this woman was. I heard about Canada's Ultimate Challenge. I know a few of the Big Brother Canada people did that show. I haven't watched it. Maybe I should get into it. But I started seeing clips of her from that show go. I don't know if viral the word, but people started circulating clips of her on that show. She was on the same season with Adam Pike from Big Brother Canada 7, and yeah, she was getting into it with people. She didn't care. She called everyone out. She did what she wanted to do, and she was very fierce, and I liked that. It would have been interesting to see Adam with her because they're apparently on the same team, but they're arresting casting people from Big Brother Canada for some reason. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her. CT, not shocked that he's on. He's pretty much almost always on. He won the last few seasons that he was on. They're paying him 6 figures just to show up, though I'm not into any of the CT Pro Tips bullcrap that they tried to force him on. Apparently, he is a lot bigger than he was on 40 and on, especially on 37, but during camp, he usually loses weight while on the season. I'm kind of expecting him to kind of just coast to the end and potentially win. I hope that's not the case, but with his very volatile relationship and social media activity, maybe he'll be more open to being messy on the show. But on last season, he got into it with Theo, and then when he was asked about it in the confessionals, he walked off because he was trying to preserve his image. So he's going to bring that bullcrap. I'm just not looking forward to it, but not surprised that CT's on this. Okay, so Turbo, I am excited that he is on this. Obviously, only like 3 episodes of All Stars Rivals has aired, and he didn't get much screen time. But we do know that he gets a bit messy on that season, and he's always someone who brings chaos wherever he goes. He doesn't care about the politicking. He doesn't care about kissing people's asses or whatnot. And he's here with Nani, so I'm assuming they probably made up sometime during All Stars Rivals where he could be integrated with the whole banana side, or he could fall out with everyone like he did on Ride or Dice. But either way, I'm expecting a lot of entertainment from him, and he's one of the few War of the Worlds people who's consistently cast. Anyway, we knew was on. Michaela! Okay, so she's someone that I am looking forward to. Obviously, she had a bad run on Spies, Lies, and Eyes, with everyone figuring out who she was during that second lockdown, causing them to not get her. And then she went on USA 2, where she executed the potential that she had as a reality TV personality and competitor, where she made it to the final there. But obviously, Michaela has a real life job. She talks about how she doesn't have time to do the flagship, and after USA 2, she didn't really seem that interested in it. But she's here. I'm looking forward to it because one thing about Michaela is she doesn't kiss ass to people. She's going to do what's in her best interest. She's not going to sugarcoat anything for anyone. And due to that, it causes her to be very funny and very dramatic as well. But she can compete well. It will be interesting to see how she reacts to a lot of the veterans because she doesn't know many of them. And even with the ones that she did play with, it wasn't like she was working with a lot of them on USA 2. So I'm definitely looking forward to Michaela being here. And it seems like they're investing in Survivor again with her, Sydney, and Dee being on. I remember seeing some pictures of her hanging out with Sydney, so that could be in alliance there. It would have been cool to see her with Jay, but they never cast her and Jay on a season together, so that's always kind of just disappointing to me. Okay, Rogan O'Connor. This one was definitely very shocking because obviously His relationship with Dee was a huge focus on Total Madness, and then once she got into her controversy and they decided to edit her out, they edited him out as well, because a lot of his content was about her. So whatever drama, especially with they keep to that backstab that happened with him and Dee, was edited out, and then he was about to the reunion, and we haven't seen him in 5 years. I don't like Rogan, especially with some of his viewpoints, but he's willing to hook up, he's willing to cheat, he's willing to be a villain, he's very open about it, and he doesn't care. So he's kind of I feel like he's kind of what the challenge needs, with someone who doesn't care about public opinion, who will get into fights, who will compete, who will hook up, who will cheat, who will do anything. The one fear that I do have is that he might come in wanting to be on his best behavior because it's been so long since he's been on, but he might act a mess because he knows he needs something to secure his spot on the show in the future. Though I never fully believed that it was his choice to not come back, like I did with Joss. But obviously, with this, clearly, he got the opportunity and here he is. So Ashley really wasn't a surprising choice, especially after All Stars Rivals, where it's clear that after that, it was kind of used as a segue for her to be on the main show. Obviously, she hasn't been on the main show in a few years due to an argument with Josh, where she may or may not have said something about his sexuality, but he wanted her to be back on the show, and everyone's kind of over the situation. I don't know about Ashley's relationship status. I don't know if she's going to hook up with someone, but she's always getting into confrontation. She's going to play for her best interest, and she's always someone who's going to bring something to the show. I also forgot to mention with Rogan, it'll be interesting to see how he and Theo interact because during the one season that they did together, they are on opposing sides and they did not get along whatsoever. They actually got into it. But personality wise, they are a lot more similar than they are different. So I could see them kind of putting it to bed. Actually, I am kind of worried about because most of her allies really aren't on the season, and she got into it with Anissa on All Stars Rivals, with Anissa having more connections than Ashley does, and with Ashley's track record of just not doing or being very inconsistent. I could see this being an early boost for her, though I hope that's not the case. Okay, so Izzy Fairthorn from Too Hot to Handle and Perfect Match. I know absolutely nothing about her. I've been told that she's biracial. She seems, yeah, she's kind of reminds me of an Olivia when it comes to her. Probably be recast to hook up. Maybe, especially with the shows that she's on. Too Hot to Handle and Perfect Match are like dating shows, though there's a competitive element to them. Maybe she'll be interesting, maybe she won't. Who knows? Okay, you mentioned they're not on the cast. William Gagnon. So he's from Are You the One 9. This is the Are You One season that did not air on MTV. I believe it aired on Paramount Plus. I tried watching this season when it took place. I only got through like 3 episodes before I just stopped. Apparently, he was one of the messier guys on the season where he was very emotional about the people that, or the women that he liked. He got into a few screaming matches. And the fact that they're investing in Are You the One again, even though it's the flop version, I'm very excited about it. I'm hoping he'll keep that same energy on the challenge, but who knows? Adrienne Naylor, I have no idea who this woman is. I did see pictures, I believe it was of her, where she was bigger and then she lost a lot of weight and she posted a lot of inspiring content about that weight loss journey. So I'm assuming that she's going to be relatively fit. Married at First Sight is a random show to pick because that show's about people who get married to someone who doesn't live near them and they're supposed to hang out for like 3 months. I believe that's the show. But Married at First Sight, that's clearly not a competitive show. So maybe she'll be interesting, maybe she won't, I don't know. Taylor Wilcoxon from Big Brother Australia. The one season of Australia that I did watch was the one that aired in 2014. It was right after Big Brother 16. I didn't like the format because it was the house vote. So based off of this, I have no idea what she's going to bring to the table or how she is. I haven't really found much information about that. I don't have much thoughts on her. And the last person that has been revealed so far is Jake Cornish, who's on Love Island UK and Love Island All Stars. From what I've heard, he was definitely a fuck boy when it comes to his antics and how he tried to like game the system with Love Island. So he's kind of like not the kingpin, but like he was the one who started that trend of people seeing Love Island as a game, and then he quit Love Island All Stars. So he clearly has a strategic element to him. Hopefully he'll be messy and strong. So from what I was told, we are missing 3 to 4 rookie men. They released all of the rookie women, and obviously all the vet cast has been it's known and it's finalized. So from what I see when it comes to the rookie crop is that they casted people from Anglo-speaking countries, so either from the U.S., Canada, the U.K., and Australia, where, as I've discussed many times in the past, and as many people have discussed many times in the past, when they went international, they casted people who weren't strong in English, whether due to them coming from countries that didn't speak English, or it wasn't a major language, and casting people from those other countries or non-Anglo countries, it costs a language barrier when it comes to them interacting with other people within the cast and then with production as well. And due to them not speaking in their native tongue, they weren't as entertaining. So it seems like they realized, okay, they need to cast people from Anglo-speaking shows so they can speak English, so they can be entertaining in their native tongue, so we could get some of the views from the people from these different shows, and we could look up these people from the shows that they were on to get the flow or context of them very easily. Where people from random international shows, you can't really do that. And from what I can see, all of the rookies that have been revealed thus far are in their late 20s. So they are young enough where they're willing to hook up, get into fights, not care about having a family that they need to be on their best behavior for. I don't think any of them are parent or married, so they don't have that. But no, I don't want to say baggage, but they don't have that responsibility for them. There's been some speculation that it's going to be kind of like a War of the Worlds 1, or maybe, I don't know, Battle of the Bloodlines is a good example. A War of the Worlds 1, or a Fresh Meat, or maybe even a Spice and Allies thing. But yeah, that's pretty much my reaction to the 41 cast thus far. I was hoping to wait for those final few spots, but it just didn't happen, so I have to do it now. Where there's been cases, especially with the international seasons, where they couldn't find some of the international rookies until many weeks in. Sometimes it's after they were eliminated, where they would be posted here. So I'm assuming that's going to be the case, and we won't get the last few names for a few weeks. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll be back with more content soon. Bye!